Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So Roland has announced a new floor processor, the VG-800. So it can do a lot of the things that the Line 6 Variax does and some things the Variax cannot do. So I want to take a look at it, walk through it with you guys, and just see if, is this thing the next gen Variax for us folks that like to do guitar modeling and stuff like that. I'll go ahead and say this unit is still on pre-order. I don't have one of these, so I'm just going to be talking about looking at the features, looking at the demo video. So if you're expecting a full review of the actual unit, this might not be the video for you. So, down the line, I may be able to get my hands on one and do an actual review for you guys, but we'll see. All right. So the VG-800 from Boss is kind of the next step, next generation from their older processors of the VG line. If you have been playing long enough to remember the 90s in guitar technology, I believe it was back in 95, 94, 95, somewhere in that ballpark. Roland introduced the VG-8, which basically did everything that the VG-800 does, really way ahead of its time. I think at the time, man, it was like $2 or $3 grand. And this was in 95. So it was very, very expensive. The next one they came out was the VG-88. That was a little more accessible price-wise, and I used one of those for a long time. I was in a band that the singer, just his voice fit F and F sharp the best, and constantly capoing on the first and second fret got really annoying. So I gave the VG-88 a try, really liked it. So there was a VG-99, then, it kind of went away for a long time now. This VG-88 is carrying on that tradition. Just want to give you a little bit of backstory. This isn't Roland's and Boss's first foray, and this is seemingly a continuation. So let's first take a look at what it can do and what it sounds like. We'll listen to the audio demo, and then I'll kind of give my thoughts on what it's like using a system like this, because I did for a long time back with the VG-88. So we'll take a look at this is Boss's promo video. Listen to the audio demos and look at some of the features. This little audio demo is going to run through basically a Strat, a Tele, Les Paul, and then an acoustic model. So let's just give that a listen real quick.
Demo of an S-type, a T-type, LP-type, and a great acoustic sound. From the push of a button.
All right, so in my opinion, the electric stuff sounded really good. I really liked all three of the sounds they got. The acoustic, to me, that's not doing it for me. It sounds to me like a typical piezoelectric acoustic, plugged in and recorded. Now, having said that, for live use, yeah, it's fine. It would be good. I mean, even with the Variax, like I don't typically record acoustic with it. I mic up an acoustic guitar if I'm going to be recording. But yeah, I think, again, live use is pretty good. But it's hard to say like definitively based on the small clip, but to my ears, the Variax does do a better acoustic. But again, the electric sounded really good. I was quite impressed with the electrics. So let's talk a little bit about the feature set. So one of the things they do is this dual guitar setup, which Variax does not do. Basically, you can have two completely independent guitars. This example he's getting ready to do, he has like a semi-hollow body and a bass guitar. And one of the cool things is you can assign different guitar sounds to different strings and also different places on the fretboard, which is that I could see a lot of really fun possibilities. As far as being able to set it on the fretboard, maybe have a little more of a treble-y, thinner sound down lower on the neck, and as you get up the neck, it kind of goes to a little thicker, fatter sound, for leads and stuff, just as an example off the top of my head. But again, that's not something Variax can do, and you can, based on what I'm seeing and reading in the manual, you can, assign like I just talked about, different models of different strings. Maybe you want a real twangy lower strings, like a telly sound, and more of a Les Paul upper strings. Really cool, actually. This is a really nice feature. Let's hear. You can listen to this demo. You can hear him basically playing a bass line on the bottom strings and then comping chords on the higher end top.
Full set of sounds at your fingertips. You can combine two sounds into a single hybrid instrument by using the unique dual guitar function. Each sound has its own customizable signal path. This includes configuring the pickup positions and selecting from a range of fully customizable tunings, amps, and effects. Each string has independent volume and pan settings, and each string can be individually muted.
Okay, so you get the idea. That's a cool feature, in my opinion. That's next to alt tuning, which for me, which Variax obviously does, which is like my number one reason for moving to Variax to begin with, because I do like to use a lot of open tunings, as well as capoed stuff. But dual guitar, that's I got to give it to them. That's a really cool feature. I could see that being very, very useful. A couple other things, and I'll kind of talk about my experience with using this kind of setup and some of the pros and cons. Of course, alt tunings. There's really not much to talk about there. It does alternate tunings. And they did mention too, I don't remember what part of the video, you can also mute strings, which you can do on Variax. If you're using Helix, you can define through snapshots or presets, you can define if you want certain strings muted. That's fun. Like if you're doing open G and you don't want the bottom D string, some players you see Keith Richards do it. Just take the 6th string off and do an open G. So that's kind of cool. The last kind of feature thing that we'll do audio demo, and I'll talk through some other stuff, is being able to do pitch shift per string and control it with an expression pedal, so you can get like a B bender effect. I've tried to do it at Variax, but the tuning steps. It doesn't glide from one to the other. So I thought this would be fun. Like I tried this a long time ago on Variax and didn't work. So this is pretty cool.
In addition, the harmony function creates an ensemble effect from either playing single notes or chords.
Oh, that reminds me, you actually can also set harmony. I think you can set the key, and it'll harmonize with what you're playing, which is really cool. I think that's a really cool feature. Also, it has the tones built in from the GT1000. I don't know if it has the full model set from the GT1000, but what it may. But what it does have is based on the GT1000. So it's kind of a nice all-in-one unit. You can do basically, as far as external control, you can do 2 foot switches or an expression pedal. So you're a little limited on, you have 3 pedals and you can add a couple more or an expression pedal. So not, as far as like if you're thinking about like a Helix or something bigger, or a fractal like a FM9, having lots of tactile control with foot switches, you're not going to get that here. But, it does do a lot of stuff. And I haven't looked at the manual. You can use a MIDI controller to add more control. I don't know. I have to look that up. But anyway, that's kind of, that's what it does. It also does like a guitar synth sound, like a rolling guitar synth. It is not a true synthesizer. Later in the video, they show you can use the output from that to go feed into one of their processors like the VG-800, which is a full synth MIDI kind of thing. So my personal thoughts as someone who has used the older VG-88 and very much use the Variax, what my thoughts on this would be. I could see using this for more of a recording environment for getting some unique sounds that you couldn't normally get with regular instruments. The downsides of this kind of system is the same as the VG-88 I used to use. So basically, you have to have their pickup, the GK5, you have to mount that. And actually, let me talk about price for just a second. So the processor itself is going to run you about $650, and then the pickup itself is going to be $249. So you're about $900 in. Not outlandish. It's actually not too bad. But that's what it'll cost you to get into this thing, about $900. So having to mount the pickup, not the biggest deal in the world, but still, you're putting something on your guitar. The advantage of that is you're using your guitar. A lot of people, when talking about Variax, have said they wished they could have the Variax and foot pedal and use their own guitar. This is that. If that's what you wanted, you got it. That's what this is. So here are the drawbacks. As again, someone that's used this kind of system, you have to pre-plan everything if you're going to use this live. What I mean is, you can't change guitar models, you can't change pickup positions, you can't change anything on the fly. As far as on the guitar controls. To me, that's was something that was very annoying back in the day, and it would probably be that way here. That's why I said I would probably use this more for recording. I mean, if you're playing a song and chorus is clean on neck position, and then or verse is clean, chorus is distorted, and you want to change pickup positions, or if you're just playing a solo and want to flip back and forth, do it all the time. In certain parts you want to thicken it up, go to the neck position, flip it back to the bridge for certain parts. You can't really do that. I mean, you can have presets that define that, but again, if you're using this for your amp modeling as well, you're going to have to account for that. If you want to, what sounds are you going to want when you change from one pickup position to the other? So there's a lot of pre-planning if you're going to use this as a live rig, or at least I found. Because I tend to, I like to change up pickup positions and stuff and guitar models kind of on the fly, which is the beauty of the Variax. The other thing is you don't have, kind of going along with this, you don't have the physical control on the guitar. Like, to me, that was the thing that the Variax really got right, was it feels like a regular guitar. The volume knob does what the volume knob should do. The tone knob does what the tone knob should do. And then you have, controls in the form of the knobs, or the 69 has the little pitch wheel. But for the most part, you've got physical controls on that guitar that can do whatever you need to do. Change tunings, change models, everything on the fly. Pickup positions, volume, tone, the whole thing. You can't do that with this. You have to, have a preset for every different sound you want to do. That's a pretty major drawback for a live processor, in my opinion. The nice thing too about this in terms of like recording, as they show later in the video, and I'll put links to this stuff in the description below if you want to check out their video and the product page. Is basically you can chain devices together. So with that, basically it's a hexaphonic pickup. So every string gets its own pickup, which that's how Variax works as well. But you can output that divided pickup signal, and you can feed that into another unit like the GM800. I mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but that's really cool to be able to chain different pedals together. Whereas before you would have to basically run one at a time. You couldn't just chain things because, well, before the GK5, it was a 13-pin cable. So I'm glad they did go like a TRS cable. Much more convenient, I would think. Those old 13-pin systems were. It was a necessary evil if you wanted to have alt tuning stuff on the fly. So that's kind of my thoughts on this. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm happy to see this come out. I definitely have some sentimental feelings towards the VG series. I used one for a long time. I'm thankful to see it continuing on. I'd be interested to know if they redid the guitar modeling from the ground up. Boss is kind of funny about that. With their amp modeling, they would make it better, but they would continue to use the same terminology. It was COSM COSM was their original term. I forgot what it stood for, component something modeling. But they kept using that term with their amp modeling for years. And, so people kind of had the impression it was the same thing, but I think they were improving it as they went. With this, I don't know. I don't know. If these are brand new guitar models, if they are carryover from older devices, Boss isn't really good at telling us that stuff. So, again, I'd have to hear it. But, for reasons stated, it will not be something that I would consider to replace the Variax for live use. But something that could be really fun in the studio. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Like I said, maybe when it comes out, I can get my hands on one. I don't know. But if I do, I will definitely do a full review video for you guys. So it just gives you something to think about. it's fun to, see new things coming out. And I'm always happy to see new technology, new modeling, new everything coming out because it benefits everyone. If something comes out and it takes off, then a lot of the companies are going to jump on the bandwagon. I mean, now a lot of devices in the amp world are doing captures and profiles. Forever, just the Kemper was the only one that could do that. So, it's cool to see technology move forward, regardless if I'm going to use this or another product that comes out. I'm happy to see it come out because if it works, it's going to push other companies to follow suit. So I think that's a really good thing. Anyway, there's me rambling about a product I haven't touched or seen or really heard other than a YouTube video for 15 minutes or so. So if you stuck it out to the end, thanks for doing that. I hope this is somewhat useful if you see this and are thinking about it. I hope this might help inform you as to whether or not it'll work for you or not. So anyway, until next time, we'll see you.